Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media.
Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the town of Meeteetse, Wyoming, and back in time to when grizzlies roamed the Wild West with impunity. Near the Gray Bull River is a geological phenomenon known as Devil's Kitchen, which features a barren jut of ground that resembles a giant onion cut in half, according to Native Americans and pioneers traveling in the area. Witnesses of the formation credited the devil's work for the mystical and unexplainable creation. It is a location surrounded by lore of unusual events, but in the late 1800s it was a wild and dangerous place. The river's elevation is around 3,800 feet high, with the arid rolling hills surrounding it rising to around 4,500 feet in elevation. The sagebrush and seasonal grasses push wildlife into riparian zones along the river, creating a dramatic and desperate struggle for food and territory. In the high country, forests of ponderosa and lodgepole pine intermingle with Douglas fir and Engelmann spruce and give way to broad valleys of sagebrush and prairie grasses. With less than 9 inches of rainfall each year, berries are seasonal at best. Today the gray bull is known for its fly fishing, but in the 1800s it may have had modest seasonal salmon runs. As far as common animals along the gray bull, the world's largest herds of antelope and elk are found here, and mule deer and moose prosper on its bushes and grasses that line its banks. North American bison still wander the land, just like they did 150 years ago. Back then there were wolves, cougars, coyotes, black bears, and grizzly bears roaming the land as they searched out prey. In the early fall of 1892, 37-year-old Phillip Henry Vetter had laid out his small ranch after his family came out west just after the Civil War. He was born in Shenandoah County, Virginia, and had found work as a hunter and trapper in Wyoming. He was so good at finding game that he sold meat to men working mines and other industrial operations in the area for a living. He built his family a log cabin in the frontier, and was a hardy enough soul to prosper there. Vetter had borrowed a horse from a friend named Jake, whom he was expecting to take possession of it, but wanted to get a grizzly for its hide and meat before winter time. On September 1st, 1892, he scrawled out a note to Jake indicating he was going down to the river to find himself a grizzly bear. Around a week later, a frontiersman by the name of John Corbett was passing through. He was a buffalo hunter like Vetter, and decided to take shelter from an approaching rainstorm at his friend's cabin. As Corbett and his men approached Vetter's homestead, they could see the door was left wide open, presenting an ominous sign. Corbett entered and witnessed a chaotic scene with dirty dishes on the table and the cabin in disarray. After venturing further into the cabin, they found Vetter's tattered body lying on the bed. Uncertain of just what had happened to Vetter, Corbett and his associates examined the cabin for additional clues. On the table they found Vetter's original note to Jake, and in the margins of a newspaper nearby they found a cryptic recounting of how Vetter had lost his life. Written in Vetter's blood, the note explained he had run into a grizzly bear and was attacked. They read how he knew he needed help and wanted to ride to a neighbor's ranch for help but was too weak. As Vetter's writing became hard to read, they learned that he had difficulty breathing and felt like he was suffocating. His last message stated that he knew he was dying. As the men pieced together what led to Vetter's last few living moments, they could see his arms were tattered down their entire length. They examined his body and found his chest was crushed during the grizzly attack, and could see bandages he'd used in a futile attempt to stop his blood loss. Now certain of what had led to Vetter's death, the men went down to the river. Along the banks they found a water pail and Vetter's hat, knocked off his head during the attack. Nearby his rifle lay on the ground, with a stovepipe jam preventing its use. The likely cause of this malfunction was Vetter trying to fire rounds too quickly, catching one of the spent rounds in the action of the rifle. A few feet from Vetter's rifle lay 2 empty casings, as evidence of his resistance to the grizzly's ambush. Based on their examination of the evidence and the bear's tracks, they could see that Vetter had wounded the grizzly, but it had mercilessly mauled him afterward. The bear had fled shortly before Vetter dragged himself back to his cabin to die alone. Vetter's friends cut down trees and constructed a casket for his burial. They interred Vetter near his cabin, along the riverbank. As for the bear, there is no comment regarding if it had died from its wounds inflicted by Vetter's rifle. There was no comment about the bear guarding a food cache, or the presence of cubs. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 a month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce content like this. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. How do you think such a seasoned hunter could be ambushed by a huge grizzly he was hunting? Do you think grizzlies in such arid conditions are more aggressive than bears in more forested areas? Does the grizzly bear's height grant it an advantage to anyone hunting it, given it can easily see over brush that otherwise obstruct visibility? Would you choose to live in grizzly country, far from anyone who could help you if you were attacked? I think I would stick to the more civilized areas of bear country. I'll gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so please post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it.
Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.